Okay. All right. Let me post that. End. Okay. Everybody's back. I'm going on my phone now. This is done. Okay, we're gonna do the rest of this on my phone. Let me get this thing. My phone camera's kind of a little bit. There we go. All right. All right. All right. Here we go. We'll get back. All right. What I'll do here, I'm just going to close that out. All right, everybody back. Okay. So what's fixing to go on? This is the Cain&Abel5 Part 2. We had technical difficulty. Hope everybody's back. Okay. So this is going to be the Metatronic version where he's going to show the Histah Shalut. You know, we've seen the Histah Shalut of Adam Kadmon, but now we're seeing the Histah Shalut of Adam HaRishon. The order of spiritual creation is Histah Shalut. The order of spiritual creation. So here's how it works. But Ravali, now listen to this piece really close. He says, but if you want to say the Pagam was caused by Enosh, then it must be fixed by the offspring of Adam. Now, what did he just say? He just said that the blemish was caused by Enosh. Mm-hmm. He didn't say the blemish was caused by Adam. Adam sinned, right? Mm-hmm. But was it sin? Was it real sin, or have we learned that really God was just in a Tzimtzum moment, and when you get down to din, that's harsh din, and the Nakash, which is Adam in 3D, you know, and all these other things. Is that really is that sin? What he's saying is, did Adam do wrong? Yes, but guess what? What was Adam doing wrong? Enosh, because it's holographic. You have to understand, we're talking in Atzilut. These 10 things are going on in Atzilut at the same time. It's not Adam, then Seth.
It's not linear.
It's not linear. It's overlapping.
Overlapping light.
Right. Exactly. So if you took a biopsy skewer, okay, and you had the rings in a tree, and you shoved that biopsy skewer through Adam, it would hit everything. You'd go Adam, Enosh, Lamech, Methuselah, Seth, Abraham, David. It would all be
right to the center.
It would all be one singer into the core, and the core would be Mashiach. And you would pull it out, and you would see it's just one thing from that perspective. Because when you're dealing with Atzilut, you're looking at a Partsuf. So who caused the sin? Enosh. Did it happen at the moment Adam did what he did? Yes. What? Why? As soon as you take out Eve, you took out the Guvarot. Guvarot is multiplicity. What is the sin of Enosh? He made multiple gods. Shituf. Akum. You see?
Or intermediaries, even, if we say it like that. The stars and all that was in
Yeah, that's the deal.
Anything other than the...
So did Adam... So in one thing, we can say, did Adam sin? Adam is Shema. Adam is God. Did God sin? No. Who did? Enosh. Mm-hmm. You see? You can flip it. Because you're looking at it holographically, hierarchy. So it's a holo hierarchy. You see?
It's just one part of the whole.
It's one part of the whole. That's right. So he's saying, because Enosh did what he did, and we're still propagating the same thing, we're not going to do what Torah says. We're going to do what now the rabbis say. or whoever, right?
So
Then-
that kind of answers the question when we always ask, did Adam really sin?
Did Adam really
Don't
sin?
we always ask, did God not plan that, or was it not
That's
planned?
right.
Did he not know it?
Did God not know what he was doing?
Of course he knew what he's doing. He's doing it.
Because I got some huge kashas that are coming up.
So it's like cancer in the body. Bad part in the hole.
In the hole. That's right. So, God created Adam from all the good, and then he spread it out through these 10 generations. So these 10 generations are Adam spread out. You see? It's all Adam. Is Noah Adam? Yep.
The pages.
What does it mean to be made in the image? And what it says here is in the image of Ma. He was made in the image of Ma. And it's translated God. You ready?
Yeah, that's new life.
Here we go. This is the account of the descendants of Adam. On the day that God created man, he made him in the likeness of God. He created them male and female. He blessed them and called their name Adam, and the day they were created. When Adam lived 130 years, he begot in his likeness, in his image, and he named him Seth. You can turn that and look at it either way. Who's talking? God or Adam?
I have to read it again.
It's God talk. It's Adam Codmon talk. It's Adam talking when he's talking about man, and it's Adam Codmon when he's talking about Adam Harishon, depending on where you're reading it in the verse.
So it's yes.
So it's yes, but you understand it's all God, because a question was asked to me this week. Rabbi Back says Adam has parents. Who's Adam's parents? Because on the Peshat it says, "Let us make man in our image and our likeness," and we know the Peshat answer in Torah is that's Abba and Ima. That's the Peshat of the Sod. What's the Sod of the Sod? The Sod of the Sod, it's Shem Sag and Shem Ab, the 63 name and the 72 name that made the 45 name. That's the Sod of the Sod of Adam Kadmon. But the Peshat answer is it's Abba and Ima, or Elohim, Hashem Elohim, right? So depending on where you're looking. So let's continue.
Well, it's interesting that they say when Adam begot 130 years, he had Seth.
Yeah, that's right. Because 5 times 26, 5 times 26 is 130.
Right, but he had Cain and Abel. That Cain and Abel was first. Then he spent 130 years in the river, and then they had Seth. So it's like they didn't start counting him until the river. Everything before his time before that,
But
age did not count.
You can look. That is one way to look at it. Okay, now let's look at it even a higher level. The moment he pulls out the Guvarot,
Right.
the 5 heavy Guvarot, Seth was born. Because that's 130. Because in Atzilut there is no time. So he was born. So what happens is we have the 3 pillars of the Sphirot, right, left, center. So the far right one, the far left one is Cain. Abel was the half and half, and Seth is the Hasidim side. Okay? So we can say they were all born at the same time. However, to understand the context of this, then this one, this is why they have to tell us all about Cain and Abel for 2 chapters. Why? Because the vessel has to be made first. The klipa precedes the fruit. So they have to talk about the bad first.
Get rid of the klipa.
That's why they had to talk about all the nations that they did for all the nations. Remember what Ravali said? If we didn't talk about nations and a family line over here, then you can't come and talk about the nation of Israel and the family genealogy over here. The klipa always comes first. All right? So let's continue. But yes, you are correct in what you're saying there. So, what does it mean to be made in the image of Ma? What does it mean to be made in the image of Ma? This is what it says in the verse. On that day, God created man. He made him in the likeness, the tselem, image of God. All right, no, I'm sorry. Verse 3. When Adam lived 130 years, he begat in the likeness and his image and named him Seth. Okay? Because the image of Ma, what's the value of Ma?
45.
What do you think the gematria of the image of God is? 10 times 45. The gematria of image of God, image of Ma, is 450. So you have to understand, each one of these men is 1/10
of God.
of the 45.
But isn't that Ma in Yesira? Is it within
Well,
the 10 or the 100?
actually, they're still in absolute. It hasn't fallen out yet. It didn't fall out completely until we get to Noah. All right? So these 10 men are called the image of God. So when God was saying, I'm making man in the image and likeness of Ma, which is 450, which is the gematria of that value of that whole saying,
right,
image of God, all of them were made. Now, we're going to say this one was born to this one, and this one was born to this one. And but it's holographic. They were all there. All right, this is deep Kabbalah. They all happened at one time. It's all happened at one time. It's the 6th day. What happens the next day? It's Shabbat.
Right. And we can't,
You see? It's Shabbat. This is everything's happening in a moment of his mind. Nothing is going on for years. It's already there.
But we can't understand it unless we do it in a linear way.
It's only written in a linear fashion in Torah B, which is here.
Right.
This is only where it's in a linear fashion. It's not in a linear fashion where Adam is looking at it. It's not, and I'm going to prove it.
Right.
Okay? So, let's go. The 10 men are Adam, and they are his partsuf. Through the spreading of the names, which is all these men names, through the spreading of the names and the holiness in the 10, was God in the lower Atzilut. This is God in the lower Atzilut. And what happens when they get to Enoch? Hanuk?
There's the problem.
Hanuk is Metatron. And he's the highest Yud-Hey Vav-Hey that there is. You see. So we see in it, there we go. This is what it means. The heel of Adam is brighter than the sun. All collectively, these guys are brighter than the sun. The heel of Adam is brighter than the sun. What does it say in Zechariah 14? And on that day, he will unsheath the sun. S-U-N. What's he talking about? The light of Adam. This is the sod. This is the secret of the image of God, that he made them. Now, they all contain women. It's not just the men.
It's got to be the balance.
Yes. So, if somebody says who's Adam, well, it's all 10 of these guys.
Well, Hava was there.
It's all of them. Okay? It's a partsuf. If you're not talking partsufim, you are not talking Torah. It's not working. You're stuck in Adam was a guy that ate an apple. And as soon as you're stuck in Peshat, you're going to create other gods instantly. Instantly. It is well understood. This is what Rav Vali says. This is well understood when we say what we say. He says this all the time. For those who know, will know. All right? This is why it's said above and why it is not in the next verse. Is why he's talking about Seth and Adam. Now, let me read the Peshat. He blessed them. Now this is 2. He created them male and female. He blessed them and called their name, Adam. The day they were created. That was verse 2, and now the explanation of verse 2. The last one was the explanation of verse 1. This is the secret of the name Ma that surrounded both of them as one. It's called from Shelma and the Milui. Whose name do we know is Shelma? From means from Ma. Sounds just like it. Shelma. Shlomo. What's his name in English? Solomon. Who is Solomon? Adam here in 3D. That's why Solomon has no Peshat. If Adam is the 1,000, how many wives does Solomon have? 1,000 here. You see why? And why is Shlomo the one? Why is Adam the 1,000? A day is 1,000 years to who? God. Who is Adam?
God.
Thank you. Now you see the math. This comes from Psalms 139, where it says, back and front, you have restricted me and laid your hand on me. We study this every Rosh Hashanah. You know, they're made back to back. This is a sod of Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur, where they're cut open, where they're separated, and then they face again. Right? Those are the 4 days of from Yom Kippur to Sukkot. We study it every year. Psalm 139:5. They were made front to back. Yet he encircled them, even though they were back to back, he encircled them and made a perfect union. This is called the Makif. Makif starts with an M and it ends with an F. This is where we get male and female from the word Makif of surrounding light.
Right side, left side.
Right side, left side. They were made front to back, yet he encircled them in perfect union, and they are one thing. The name 45 is male, yet the Milui is female. Do I need to explain the Milui at all? Here it is. I don't know if you can see this, but the purple is the Yud, Hey, Vav, and Hey, which is 26. The Milui is the Yud Dalet, the Aleph. What's this one?
The hay.
Is that the?
It's Yud Aleph.
Yud Aleph, and that's an Aleph, and this is an Aleph. Anyway, it's 19. So it's the word spelled out. The expanded name, which is called the Shem HaMefaresh, right? And then the Shem HaMefaresh now fractals in to all the other Shem HaMefareshes, because we know how to say that name, Yohe-Wahe, right? Well, then there's a Yohi-Wahi, there's a Yoho-Waho. It depends on where you go in the Sphirot to where you use the Nekudot, the letters of the vowels that make the sounds of the name what it is. There ain't no Yahweh in there, I can tell you that. Or Yehoshua, or any of the other names that they make up. Those are not part of the Shem HaMefaresh. Trust me. This is the secret of the Makif, the surrounding light. See up here? Or Makif, surrounding light. The inner light's called the Or Pinimi. What do we know is the Or Makif? What's it called in our lingo?
expansion?
No.
Or-
What make all right? If the epitome is the light, what's the thing that makes the glow?
Oh, Noga.
It's the Noga. So the secret of the Or Makif is Noga. All right. So if we're going to get Shem to live again, Shem Hai Mashiach, the name. If the name is going to live, and the name is Israel, and the name is Adam, and these are the names, right? It's got to have an Or Makif. It's got to have a Noga. It's got to have Gerim. This is the secret of Gerim, y'all. This is why David and Solomon were the last ones to really make Gerim. Why? They're Mashiachs. Because they're part of the formula. Now they're making Gerim again. And I don't mean converts. I mean non quote unquote converts. They're the outside light. If you make a convert, now he's the inside light. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Ma is the pinimi. And the male and female of the word makif, as the light surrounds, this is why he called them Adam. On the day he created them, which is the end of the verse. On the day he created them, this exalted state didn't exist until the day that he created them. They were immediately messed up and diminished. And there they descended. After the sin and the mess up, they made teshuvah. And they were made holy, kadosh, ma'od. Very holy. You know, there was blood spilled. There was a surgery. Things didn't go right. The virus got in. There was contamination in the operating room, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But this is God that is doing this. And can God sin? No. The separation was part of the teshuvah. Therefore, 130 years of separation is called teshuvah.
That's what he was. He was purifying himself.
He knew that the separation, Adam knew that the separation, i.e. the union, was messed up. Why? He's God. He knows everything. Therefore, wisdom gives birth for a place in the world. Therefore, here's the kasha. There was no sin, only creation. Creation was the sin.
The 3D.
Yeah. That was the
It's
sin.
sin. And it's the death.
And the death. It's just the opposite of God. He had to create the opposite of him. What's the opposite of holiness? Sin.
Well, if he's spiritual, what's the opposite of him? Physical.
That's right. See, he knows what he's doing. But it's the tzaddikim that should be spiritual. Therefore, what is sin? Creation versus not creation.
To be or not to be.
Creation versus not creation. So when you are in union with your wife, you are making creation. As Sarah and Abraham, the souls they created. But if you're spilling seed, you are in not creation. And Adam was spilling seed for 130 years, just as you explained. He was in not creation. You see? Mm-hmm. That's what's called sin. This is why animal sex, homosexuality, spilling seed, that's what, all of these things are not proper union. Therefore, they are not creation. Therefore, they are called sin.
Or non-creation.
Backside. Yeah.
Correct. You follow me. Follow me.
Non-creation is sin.
That's right. No, when you are not creating, you are at sin. All right? That's the deal. If we create outside of God, this is sin. According to Valley. Creating outside. Because even though you're not creating, you're creating negative forces.
Dark side.
You're still creating.
You're creating something.
That's right. It's not that you're not creating. You are creating, but you're not creating on the front side.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay?
Creating backside.
This is what it means that Adam lived 130 years and bore the place of creation. You see, he bore a place. God created a place for creation. What is the name of place that we learned last week? And he called his name Seth. See, this was the place of creation. So the whole Cain and Abel story is a prelude to creation.
It was the Klippa.
Yes,
First.
that's right. And that's why it was destroyed at the flood.
And the nest.
Because the 10 generations of Adam haven't not yet emanated. They were all there. And they all were holographically running at the same time. But as soon as it's all happening at the same time, but when it falls, it's linear. This, then this, then this, then this, then this, then this, then this. But if you look at it like looking through a scope, down a gun, you see the whole thing. There's no separation. It's only when it falls, then now it's linear timeline.
The Nephilim.
So, this is what it means that Adam lived and created a place called Seth. More than in his image and in his likeness. That is, he was similar to his father in the Or Pinimi, the inner light, and in the outer light, the Or Makif. And that is the sod of Salem Hadlut, 450, in the image of God that you see there. And he blessed them. That's the circulation. And on that day, this is in 3, and Adam lived 130 years in his likeness and image. This is Salem Hadlut, and named him Seth. Okay? Image and likeness. This is the secret of Partsufim, the Partsuf. All who saw Seth saw Adam and no Nakash. His mother called him Seth, yet it is known that he is from the father and not from the Nakash. Hear what he's saying there? Which is the Zuhama. The Nakash is the Zuhama. Zuhama means the poison seed. Zuhama is a poison injection. Okay, yes. From that side of the Gurot, from the mom, right? Which is the Zuhama rather than the true seed, which contains no admixture, no erah. He contains no admixture. So, Kasha. Hava is the Shekhinah, right? Does the Shekhinah, the presence of God, does the wings of the Shekhinah hover over the Erev Ra? They're half Jew. What's the answer? The answer is no. They are from the Nakash. And the Shekhinah has no part of it. Because she did Teshuvah. See. Question. Kasha. Does the Shekhinah hover over the Gerim? Do the Gerim come under the wings of the Shekhinah?
I would say yes.
Absolutely they do. Why? There's no Zuhama in them. They're not a mixture by definition. Where Erev Rav is a mixture by definition. So, Israel has their own problem with the Erev Rav. But they are not under the wings of the Shekhinah. Because the 4 houses are Cohen, Levite, Israelite, Gerim, not Erev Rahim. Right? How long have we gone? About 15 more minutes, eh?
Yeah.
We may can get through. I don't know.
We're only
Well,
on-
don't rush
on
it.
the
This is
first
good
one.
stuff.
This is good. We don't want to rush this,
Don't
do we?
rush it.
Right. We can have a 5-3.
From this, he was fit to place the world. Seth. He was fit to place the world, and the concept of truth stands, and falseness did not. Verse 4. And the days of Adam after begetting Seth were 800 years, and he begot sons and daughters, who we know nothing about. However, the Iker term here, the bunch of people that look like him, I'm not even going to go into the term, and the rest of these after mentioned are no big deal. He had lots of sons and daughters. Adam did. We don't know any of them. Why?
They're
They
spiritual.
weren't pertinent to creation.
We're talking about Adam here. We're not talking about everything else. We're talking about the generations of Adam, see? We got to go through the Partsufim. We don't have time unless your name is a specific name. You are people. But your name is specific. If your name is, that's why when you convert, what they do, they want to change your name to something in Torah.
Yeah.
Because then you become a coordinate of Torah. You see?
My name was already.
The reason they're not mentioned is because we are studying the histoshlut of the generation and the list that bore, and these are the names of the Partsufim of Adam. You see, it's not that they're not important, but God's not talking about that right here. He's not talking about it. It's not the descendants of Adam. It's the Partsufims of Adam that he's discussing. It's a terrible translation.
Again.
The rest of the sons and daughters, only if your name is in Torah are you significant. Not that you're not a person, but you're not a coordinate that things are running through. Specifics.
Yeah.
You see. Why then even mention the sons of daughters? Why do we have to mention that? To let you know that the world was settled and populated. And he bore sons and daughters over 800 years and settled the world. Now verse 5. All the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. So we have a huge kasha question right here. God told Adam, the day you eat of it, you will surely die. And 930 years later,
He surely died.
he surely died.
Mm-hmm.
So what is death? And did Adam really do it? And why didn't he die the day he ate of it? What, was he 1? Was he 20? How old was Adam when he ate? Because he was separated from Eve 130 years. What was he, 1? You see? You see the issue. See here the kasha. You hear it. You feel it. It doesn't make sense. Why? We're talking absolute. Yeah. We're talking, he's a name of God. It's not a person that was born. God created him with his own hand. You see, he wasn't born from a womb. If you're born from a womb, you're nothing. Jesus.
He wasn't 3D.
Mm-mm.
So how could he?
No. This is Adam. He's Mashiach. It's something completely different.
4D.
Adam lived 930 years. Where did the 70 go?
David.
It went to David, King David. How did that happen? Listen to what we just said. This guy's going to live 1,000 years because we already know that it's God, right? But God can't die, so he's not dying, right?
The transmigrated.
All right. So God's not dying. This is talking about the first of a long Partsuf, because God is going to emanate himself all the way through this thing to Mashiach, right?
Because he is Mashiach.
Because he is Mashiach. All right, so the name of God, the Shem Chai, which means Mashiach, when the name lives, boom. Adam lived 930 years, and you said, because it's well known in Torah, he gave David 70 years of his life because he saw David would be stillborn. Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask you a kasha question. What kind of human, has the ability to give somebody 70 years of his life?
It doesn't. Man doesn't. God does.
Yeah. So let's take our Jesus. Jesus couldn't even save his life, but Adam could give somebody 70 years. You see the problem.
He's not God.
He's not God.
He can't be.
That's right. And Adam is. He's Shema. So he could literally give years. All right? He didn't have to. If he kept those years, he'd have lived out 1,000. That was how long he was supposed to be here, was the 1,000. So did Adam really die?
No, I think he transmigrated.
That's right. It's called a Gilgal. It's called the Gilgal. So here's what happens. Because you know that a day of God is 1,000 years. And Adam is only, he's talking about 10 pieces here. 10 pieces.
Okay.
He's on Adam. This Adam we're talking about, it's only 1/10 of God. Because we still got to talk about Enosh and Kenan and Mahalalel and Jared and Enoch and Methuselah and Lamech and Noah. So Adam's only 1/10. Therefore, he would live 1,000.
Anyway.
Because this is the Tzimtzum. That's all it is. The sages say that God showed Adam, of course, all the generations in the world. Adam even saw everyone in here and everyone online. He saw all the generations of the world. But when he saw the soul of David, it was the Malchut of Atzilut. So where's David from? Atzilut, buddy. Not Asiya. That he had no light. Uh-oh. So we know this is Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, Moshe, Aaron. This one is, see that D right there? That D stands for David. We know that David is the Malchut. David is the kingdom. This is the crown. This is Asiya. David was going to die. Why? Because Malchut has no light of its own.
Camera stop.
Camera stop? Start again. Because Malchut has no light of its own. Of course, he's going to give him 70. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What is 70?
70 nations.
The 70 nations. The Gerim. The whole thing. That's why David's great-great-great-grandmother was a Ger.
That's why he said he was a Ger.
That's why he said he was a Ger. Because it's all about the 70. Which is the 3 Yuds of Ab and the 4 Yuds of Sog that were Adam's parents. If you got 7 Yuds, you got 70 people. That's the math. He's given him the Yud. You see, what God is doing, it's extraordinary. You got to see it. It's extraordinary. So
The 70 nations, so there can be Israel.
yes, they're going to be kings of the 70 nations. Why? So we can have king, the real king. It always works.
You mean the King of Kings?
I mean the King of Kings, which will be Israel, which will be Mashiach, which is not dead 2,000 years ago, because we got to go through 7,000 years, because a day is 1,000 years, and we got to go through 7 of them, and there's your 70,000, and 7,000, and 7, and 700, and 7 times 7, and just what Lamech said, and just like David was saying, all right. But if you don't know what they're talking about, then you just don't know.
We just don't know. You just don't
You
know.
just don't know.
If you
just
don't know math, you don't know.
You just don't know.
Because he had no light. Malchut has no light of its own. Therefore, Adam gave him 70 years. For the Psalm says, "For God has gladdened me with your deed." God, you gladdened me with your deed. Did David say, Adam, gladden me with your deed? No, he said, God gladdened me with your deed. But who gave him the years?
Adam.
Depends on which way you're looking at it. You see,
It's the same.
it's the same. David knew where his life came from. His neshama is precious, and it was sad that it had nothing. So Adam Harishon, the first Adam of the Histal Shalut, it was his deed in creation that he was by the hands of God. Therefore, David was created by the hands of God. Adam was diligent to give him this soul, this years, to complete his tikkun, his own tikkun. What was God trying to do the whole time? Get David here. The whole time.
So he created 70 days.
Which is the king in the kingdom. Which is a secret of God getting here.
Or Malchut being there.
Or
Keter.
yeah, depending on where you're looking at.
With Keter and Malchut.
That's right. So when does the king Messiah get his light? When the Or Makif is back at the Or Pinimi, when the Gerim are back connected to Israel. That's called Mashiach. When he has life, Shem High, life, when the name gets its life back. You see? And life is light. And you can't have light without Noga. I'll wrap it up. The 70 is the Gerim, the glow of the Noga, like Jethro to Moses. Through the patriarchs, the right side and left side and middle side were fixed. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Through David, all things were fixed completely. Through the pious king in his chariot, through the way of Adam, he rectified everything completely, the opposite of Enosh. Since his children sinned and did not go after his way, it was perfected in Solomon, Shalma. Yet he sinned, and we know the whole soul to that. He really didn't, but just like Adam, right? Yet he sinned, and it will go until the seed of David is produced through Messiah, which Adam will crown. Adam will crown him,
The seed of David.
according to Rav Ali. You see, why? Adam is the Keter, Mashiach is the Malchut. When that is there, Russell, just like you said, when Malchut is at Keter, it will be crowned Mashiach.
Right.
Yay.
The seed of seed, which is the difference between spilling and giving. The seed is 4D versus 3D. So we have a kasha. The kasha is not how did Adam give his 70 years, but how did he give his seed to Mashiach without any zuhama? And I'll leave that thought in your mind until next week. The Torah is amazing and the sages are amazing. And we'll see y'all next week.
Amen.
All right, that's a good tour right there if y'all don't